Promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle so they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get it higher power. Over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you loud down. Yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make we shout down. Yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo. Man of the masses. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good diary politico. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. This one not day off in mind. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don't come. So my people make you loud. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo. Man of the masses. My good and come. My good diary politico. My good and come. This man not the off in mind. Mayegun la wa mo la mo to do. Mayegun diary. Mayegun la wa mo la mo to do. Mayegun diary. Mayegun ti de o ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí. Mayegun diary.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, good evening to you from wherever you are joining us from. This is Mayegun Live.
Mayegun diary. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary. Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun diary. Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Share the broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite just anyone you think should see this as well, and tell them that Mayegun today.
Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary. Ẹ fara balẹ̀ sẹ́ o, kẹ́gọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu. Mayegun diary. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, share the broadcast.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé.
Defend yourselves, but don't use guns. Well, you can say Baba Adeboye, Pastor Adeboye was probably just speaking in codes. But this one that they said fight them, fight your attackers, defend yourselves, but not with guns. My brother disagrees.
Pastor, ó ń ṣọ́ pastor àwọn ọmọjọ sticker ló ń ṣọ́ wa àṣẹ kò rí pé orí wa ti burú ìwọ má dídá ìpápá ẹ̀dàrúnrin lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àwọn báàbù tó ń jẹ òjò gbèsè àgbẹ̀tọ̀ àbí kò gbẹ́rì tí kò gbé tí a fẹ́ jókòó tẹ̀rà gbẹ́rì tí bá yọ píù àwòyí àárín òmò yín pé wà nínú báàbù pé ìgbà tó fẹ́ mú Jésù kọjá ní àárín òun ògèrí Jésù kí ni Jésù lò àfẹ́ rí ló lò ìwọ má dídá ayé bàjẹ́.
So share the broadcast.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá ayé ìṣúra aṣòfin tí ń rúfin òwò ayé ìṣúra.
There are other sad, stories that we are going to also share tonight, apart from the warnings coming from Pastor Adeboye, the Redeemed Church of God, RCCG, the GO or the CEO. So this is what Baba said, just to start from the headlines. So Pastor Adeboye was addressing the members of the Redeemed Church, and it was like, enough is enough. It is now going to be fire for fire. But Baba ended it with, I don't understand, but listen.
I don't want to say much, because I know whatever I say, some people may want to twist it. But I've searched the Bible from cover to cover, and there's nowhere in the Bible where God said a child of God cannot defend himself. If you find the place, let me know. He said, if they slap you on the right cheek, turn the left. He said that one. If they now slap the left, what did he say? When God is silent, do you know the meaning of that? It simply means over to you. Every enemy of the church, as long as my Father is on his throne, as long as Jesus lives, as long as his name is a consuming fire, if they don't repent, the fire of God will consume them. I'm not talking to everybody, I'm only talking to my children.
We know, Jerry, Daddy, we know. And that is why what I'm also going to say, I just want you who are members of the RCCG, don't take offense, okay? Because I want to talk about what prompted Baba Gio to even speak out and say, you Christians, all of this report of persecution, killings, kidnappings, destructions and attacks here and there, as we speak right now, do you want me to confess to all of you? There is nothing Nigeria can do to save you anymore. And guess what? You are on your own. And that was what Papa was saying. So in retrospect, or in the general view, you can then look at the general picture of Nigeria. The insecurity. Now everybody, they collect. And the failure of Buhari and Oshibajo, who happen to be a member or godson to Baba Gio. So they have failed. Whatever they have probably seen before they came, whatever Baba Gio saw. Because I remember back then, because a lot has changed. If you pay attention, if you have been paying attention to Nigerian, situation, you realize that Buhari has managed, because it is only APC, yeah, who came and they scammed everybody. They scammed educated people, scammed uneducated people, they scammed experts, they scammed pastors, scammed imams, scammed Muslims, scammed Christians, scammed Babalawo, scammed witches and wizards. You know why I said that? It was like a spell. 2014, 2015. So many religious houses, they gained so much relevance, so to say, because they could predict, as they always, they always did, they could predict what is or what was going to happen next. Some of them who stood by and said God told them that Boko Haram was coming and is going to change Nigeria to a better place. Gradually, year 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4, majority of them they started adjusting their prophecies. It's like God who told them a lot about Boko Haram coming. Using this image, I don't know if many of you still remember this. This is actually like a very popular image when they were selling the Bobo. Then they said the best team against Boko Haram. Because then it was Boko Haram. Nobody, see what happened pre-2015. Even those who kind of had a little bit of support for Goodluck Jonathan then, right? You see what happened, the level of terrorism between 2014, 2015. Baba will shake to shake your confidence at the time. So these guys were able to say, listen, this general is coming. And not just that, look at the man behind him. That's a pastor. He is an ordained pastor from Redeemed Christian Church of God. And it was easily embraced. Now, 7 years down the line, the people that saw the vision of Buhari coming to make life better, especially those who predicted all of that, they started adjusting and adjusting. Now, finally, many of them have now gotten to a stage whereby they couldn't even speak up directly and say, "Omo, this whole thing don't finish." Somebody was asking me, and he said, even out of all of this mess that many of them are trying to hide or try to be politically correct, pastors are being kidnapped, killed, ransoms are being paid by our churches in Nigeria. Yeah? And well, guess what? Majority of those who actually have supposedly have access to the system more, they are just minding their words to say, "Oh, more security don't collapse." So they said, you have to defend yourselves. But the question is this: when somebody turn around, especially those prominent people, because people say that all the time, for 7 years, it exposed the hypocrisy in so many people. The insecurity now boxed so many to the corner that even if they were pretending about one Nigeria and the rest of that, they couldn't deny the fear of what APC Egbekegbe brought in 7 years, going to 8 years now. Because now these prominent people, when they now turn around and say, you need to defend ourselves. We need to defend ourselves. All of you should go and defend yourselves. Meanwhile, the same people who come to their churches, go to their mosque or go to their Jumat and all those places, right, are the same people who are disarming the people that are becoming the victims of the terrorists. So when the prominent people who have all the security, pastors, like Baba Gio now, is a topmost, personality, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. So he is highly protected. So when Baba turn around and say, you need to defend yourselves, because Nigeria, that's what he's saying, is that Nigeria can no longer defend you. When they say that, what exactly do they mean? Defend yourself with what? With punch, stone, or plywood, or what? Because they know that the only set of people allowed to carry weapons in Nigeria are two. One, the legalized ones called the armed forces or the police, like the legalized killers in the system. The unofficial one, okay, put it this way. They have 2 set of armed people who are allowed to carry the weapons in Nigeria. The way the system is so messed up, right? The Nigerian armed forces, Nigerian police, they are officially allowed to carry the arm and they can kill anytime. When they kill you, all they have to do is to label you a name, or if they have no name to any kind of a tag to tag you with, then they can just call it accidental discharge. They call it accidental discharge. So they are licensed to kill you. And most of the time, they are not responsible, or nobody is held responsible for that. The unofficial ones who are allowed to carry weapons and kill at will are the armed Fulani terrorists everywhere. Now, you as a citizen, supposed citizen, you are supposed to be, let me put it this, you are actually at the liberty of the terrorists. It depends. Is it the state-sponsored terrorist official, or the state-sponsored terrorist unofficial? Now let's break that down. Just a few days ago, in Shiroro, somewhere around there, Niger State, very close to where Nigeria Power Station is located, right? Terrorists who happen to be Boko Haram terrorists, 7 years after they sold the Bobo, the general will fight the physical battle, the pastor will fight the spiritual battle. 7 years after that, thousands of Nigerian soldiers, policemen, JTF, civilian JTF, every one of those that they have sent the way of these terrorists have been, massively slaughtered. Some of them hidden. Shiroro in Niger State, the terrorists attacked the place. There were Chinese workers there, and there were Nigerian police, Nigerian soldiers protecting those who were working there. Just the same way. Security in Nigeria right now has to do with how much can you pay. So they protect whatever they feel like should be protected, not the citizens. Well, this time around, they are protecting those who are working for the government. Armed men. The terrorists attacked them. They killed over 30 of them. 30. And they killed over 7 policemen as well. 30 soldiers, 7 policemen. The Nigerian government failed to even acknowledge the attack and the killing. Collateral damages. I've been a collateral what? That happened in Shiroro. Unofficial terrorists killed those who are supposed to be government armed official terrorists in my own book. And do you know why I call them official terrorists here? It is so complicated, this whole thing, and I will make you understand. While they were busy, the terrorists were busy killing the Nigerian soldiers and policemen in Niger State. The Nigerian soldiers, they were there in Ogbaru, Anambra. Listen to this. Soldiers armed to the teeth with like war weapons. I'm going to try and get that clip and show you what look like war weapon. What are they looking for? They are looking for unknown gunmen. Now they got to Ogbaru in Anambra. The villagers in Ogbaru, they approached the soldiers and said, Well, if you are looking for these armed people you are looking for, the intel that you said you have is not here. It is down the river. There is this or that. Just like that, someone they open fire on them. I mean, soldiers who prepare to fight war. Civilians approached them, right? Or they approached a civilian community. They were supposed to have the intel. No one shot at them. Nothing. I can't share the video with you. Some of you have seen the video, Abby. Exactly. Who does that? Other than terrorists. They were supposed to be Nigerian soldiers. They were supposed to be looking for armed people that they called unknown gunmen. But do you know those they killed? The civilians they found in their houses. Some of them killed on playing ground. And the video of them moving all these weapons down to Anambra is everywhere. Nigerian soldiers, when they see terrorists, they run. When they see civilians, their blood and energy pump like anything. And that also has to do with location. In Biafra land, they committed another genocide where innocent people were slaughtered by the supposed Nigerian government soldiers. We know what they are doing, and we know that they are committing crimes against humanity, and it is on purpose. In northern Nigeria, where the supposed Nigerians should be protected by the Nigerian soldiers or Nigerian military. Here is the report. When you hear about Nigerian soldiers slaughtered in Maiduguri, soldiers killed in Katsina or Kaduna, or soldiers killed in Niger, like the one I have just told you about. Now, this is not conspiracy theory. There is a report, a verified one, that when you unveil the identities of these killed and slaughtered soldiers, who most of the time run into ambush, already laid for them by the same system that sent them on that route, you will find out that they are mostly southern soldiers, Igbo soldiers from Igbo extraction. Now, this is not conspiracy theory. Normally, a lot is going on that if people are really interested and they begin to investigate a lot of this, some of you would not be jumping up for one Nigeria. The identities of some of the identities of the slain soldiers in Shiroro are those you have on your screen right now. Nigeria military will never release their what do you call it? At least, do you know what they write for them? They always write missing in action in order to further deceive their families, denying them even in their death, right? And when I listen to pastors, men of God, people who actually should be hearing from God, over time, for some of us who grew up believing in the prophecies of those that we believed, we're hearing from God for real, yeah, I am now asking myself, like, is there no pastor or any man of God, anyone that is seeing vision, to see that or hear from God that God is not interested in one Nigeria? I've asked myself for the level of the bloodbath. Now, listen, here is another one. Talking about the people who are becoming the victim of a system that they continue to say you should sustain. You see, when Pastor Adeboye was saying that you should defend yourselves, what he is referring to, and in code, is the fact that if you have enough money to protect yourself, in Nigeria of today, don't rely on prayers alone. Of course, you should pray and continue to, but you should also be very, very watchful. Now, Baba is not saying you should watchful. Baba is now saying that Benny defend Daranyo. Look at this screen. These two men are supposed to, they are Reverend Fathers, if I am not mistaken. Okay. Their names are Christopher Odia, Reverend Father Christopher Odia Ogedegbe. Sorry, that's not the one. The one killed. Sorry, these two. We have these two were kidnapped in Edo. Yes, Edo State. Just a recent news, which is 24 hours ago. So they are Reverend Father Peter Udo and Father Philomenon Obo. So the priest from Uromi diocese, they are. Yeah. So they are abducted today. Yes. Today, the 3rd of July. And then hopefully they would not become another victim from the same state, Edo, where Reverend Father Christopher Odia Ogedegbe was also abducted, kidnapped, and killed by his abductor. Now, I was reading the news earlier, okay, and they were talking about, this same security issue, where those who, pledge to keep us safe are continuing. They continue to play politics. You know what I mean? So, Lloyd, I think sometimes people just get lost in the conversation in the chat room where they continue to exchange, all these banters. But I bet that majority are just listening to my voice, not watching, just commenting and reading each other. But it's good. It is called engaging with this. But one thing you should do if you're okay with what we are doing here, and then you want to register or mark your own presence, is that share the broadcast, like it. This will show that you are here, or you are here and you engaged with this conversation. So Akere Dolu, the governor of Ondo State, one of the pioneers or promoters of state police. Give me a sec. Excuse me. So Akere Dolu was pleading with Buhari to please give them approval for state police. And that is a supposed governor of over 6 to 7 million people. 7 million people. And the person elected to be their governor, whose estate has been under several attacks, where so many people have been killed by these Fulani terrorists, which prompted him and then his own supposed colleagues in southwest Nigeria to say we needed to keep our people safe, and therefore we were going to start Amotekun, a security outfit that should ordinarily be the state police. But they did a bobo. They did a lot of jamboree. In fact, they commissioned, they recruited the people, and they told us that they trained them in order to be able to tackle these invaders. Because you see, this insecurity that we are talking about, as well as the report of poverty that you have been hearing about Nigeria from all over the world, they are all relative as we speak. Locally, the people who trade locally, farmers, the market traders, have suffered greatly in the hands of these marauding terrorists, especially in southern part of Nigeria. The reason why I mentioned that is because, of course, we have read a lot about what, or we have reported a lot about what they have done in northern Nigeria. But this time around, it is now closer to home, more than you can imagine. So this has affected the economic activities of our own people in southern Nigeria. Yeah, people have been killed. Farmers have been, chased away from their farms. People have reported their losses, and they have been counting their losses. Those who have invested. I'm talking about locally now. As politicians continue to ruin and destroy the economy nationwide, the local economy suffer more due to insecurity. And our people are falling more into poverty because of this. So if you now choose that we want to protect ourselves, why is everybody talking about let's protect ourselves? We need to do this and that. It's because of the level of the damages done by this insecurity. And we know those behind that. States House of Assemblies, legitimate state House of Assemblies, especially in southern Nigeria, especially in Yoruba land, which is the southwestern Nigeria, they came together, they debated, they wrote a bill to give sovereignty, to give a legitimacy to a locally formed security outfit to tackle this menace. But doing all of that, we witnessed all of that 2 years ago. It was kind of promising. But some of us knew then that they would become paper tigers. They would only buy back, but they would never be able to buy it. It didn't take long when the campaign against that came up. Because remember, the intention was that it seems that either we've confirmed that or established that the system or the security system in Nigeria has been compromised or deliberately weakened to allow all this carnage that you hear about all the time. No exaggeration, or they are real. So people believe that the security system in Nigeria has been deliberately compromised, weakened to allow all these killings. So therefore, people agree that the security system in Nigeria has now become overwhelmed by all these challenges. What do? They said, okay, let's harm ourselves, protect ourselves. Talking about protecting ourselves. And why Baba Adeboye would please should come cleaner. And then all these men of God who have a lot of followers and followings and people who look up to them, why some of us would like them to come cleaner and clearer is because it is no longer a case of trying to, hide behind the needle. Everyone says, go and protect yourself, go and protect yourselves. But Nigeria says, no, you can't. And the system doesn't even have to say it loud and campaign and all of that. Or even Buhari coming out to say no. But you know that the system says no already. They know that the system says no. And what is that system? That fraudulent 1999 constitution that will never make any law that the supposed elected people, elected by people, any decision they make on behalf of those people, if it is contrary to the agenda at the Nigeria national level, then it will be buried. Our security and our defense has been buried. Defend yourself, defend yourselves. The governor said they made laws, but he didn't see the light of the day. Amotekun was formed. People were recruited. They were trained. Now it was time for them to be harmed so that they could do the job that they were recruited and trained for. Then the politics started. This came in between. The real problem came in between. No, 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 no. If you should go ahead with Amotekun, it is anti-northern Nigeria. It is against northern Nigeria. You are deliberately doing it because you don't want the Fulanis in southern Nigeria. Blah, 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 blah. And some of us said, listen, we know how divided Nigeria is. But for those who are benefiting from it, they will say anything. They will do anything to keep Nigeria same as it is, as long as it is benefiting them. But for those who are the victims of their choice, sometimes we should be bold enough to say, why should I continue to be part of something that is purely just meant to exist to kill me? I keep saying that because that's what I feel like it is for those who want the status quo to remain. You can't protect yourselves, right? You can't rule yourselves. You can't really do anything that is out of the guidebook, the rule book put together by the owners of Nigeria. 1999 Constitution says if Buhari doesn't feel cool that we should protect ourselves, it doesn't even have to be Buhari. It could be anyone. Peter Obi and the rest. That's why I said, listen, although some of you are already obedient to you, all of these things, now talk, we will do something and chase them away. But some of us know that, or maybe few of us know that the whole journey is to try to keep together a totally tribalized, ethnicized, divided, hateful for no reason conclave. Keeping it together is just to say, oh, somebody just want to be Mr. President. Just to be Mr. President. If anybody say he wants to be president of Nigeria to come and change your life, and you believe them without telling them to start the journey, to first trash the fraudulent 1999 constitution that we keep shouting and talk about, they will be the Mr. President they want to be. And you will be the disappointed, everly ready and waiting to be disappointed victim of Nigeria fraud. We started seeing the instances where you will know that keeping Nigeria, you see, this next 7 months, many of you are going to tear yourselves apart. Now, what Nigeria you'll be fighting for, but you will tear yourselves apart because you are Igbos, you are Yorubas, you are Hausas, you are Fulanis, you are Ijaw. And guess what? It is going to get worse. I no be prophet of doom. Whatever you see today, we have seen that before. There are many of you who are watching me right now. 7 years ago, I think it was around December 2014. 8 years ago, rather. 8 years ago. Some of you, the day that those who destroyed Nigeria, when they came together in unison, strange bedfellows, Bokwari, Atifku, Saraki, Tifnumbu, Dino Melaye, and so many of them like that. Kwakwanso, when they said they were coming to rescue Nigeria, 8 years ago looked like yesterday. Nigeria cannot be rescued. There are moments that you feel like maybe it's going to happen. Everything will be a bubble. Make I take you back a memory lane a bit. When the people who are today possibly telling you that they want to save you, all of you have chosen your camps, and as you now choose your camps, una don dey tear una selves inside them, that same one contraption, defending yourself. Peter Obi is not going to be an Igbo president. Now you have to do and shalaye that one to the people who are bent to say, no, he's an Igbo man. He's a Yoruba man. Yoruba man is saying that I cannot support anybody. I'm not a bastard. I am a real Yoruba man. I cannot support a Igbo man. I cannot support a Fulani man, even if that thing. And all going into all of una love Nigeria. Abi, these people too. You remember, they once told you they were coming to rescue you. 8 years after. I'll talk now.
Thank you. We will change Jonathan, don't worry. See the man who is going to change Jonathan here. The chairman of our great party, a party that is set to make history in our country. Last night, when I stood here, I said, history is going to be made at this venue. I said, this convention is going to also make history in our political evolution. I also said this party is going to renew our democracy in this country. And since last night, you have witnessed what I describe as the most credible, transparent, elections to be ever conducted by any political party in this country. I am coming. I am coming. Jagaba has been my contemporary in the fight to restore democracy and sustain democracy.
They were friends and they are still friends. Now will not be the pawn on their chess tables. Me, I have stopped trying to worry myself and let people do their thing, because if you value your mental health, if you carry this their own thing, and some of you carry them, well, God help you. They are friends. And we have seen that before. And there's nothing they put together today that is not new. I mean, that is new. 8 years. Boko Haram. I'll give you the roundup of the success and history they made in 8 years. Maybe you see all their faces, including Tinubu, everybody, to make the history. In 8 years on security, Nigeria jumped from the frying pan of Boko Haram into the fire, the flame of Boko Haram 1, Boko Haram 2, ISWAP, Fulani herdsmen, terrorists, kidnappers, all of this in 8 years. Nigeria jumped from 240 school children. How did they move them to they don't do them again? I'm talking about from Shibok to Dapchi in Yobe, from Dapchi to Kankara, to Kagara, to Kajuru, to the entire Kaduna. Now we saw school children being kidnapped in hundreds. Many of them never to be seen again. So people got used to that at some point. Mass kidnapping, mass ransom payments, then the invasion of people's communities and sending more people into refugee camps, from 1 million people in refugee camps in 2015 to what is today now over 10 million people in refugee camps, and everybody collect to everyone, not just the northerners. In 8 years, the history those people made, ladies and gentlemen, increased Nigeria debt from 8 trillion to over 41 trillion. Increased the poverty index of the people living in poverty from over 60 million in 2015 to what is now staggering figure of over 130 million. I'm not making up figures, so I'm just being generous. So if I give you the real figures, you probably will be like, that's impossible. Possible. Do anything. In 8 years, unemployment skyrocketed. But remember, they said any serious government will defeat terrorism or terrorists in 3 months. It's been 8 years now. More people have been killed by terrorists. More people have been kidnapped by these terrorists. And today, they are telling us to learn how to live with them. In 8 years, unemployment in Nigeria, those who have no real jobs, jumped from 13 million unemployed to what is now 43% of the entire population. Now, in a figure, we are now talking about over 80 million human beings who don't get job in Nigeria. Some are graduates every year. They are pumping them out. That is those who manage to even attend school, or those who manage to see themselves through schools, because ASU has kept the school under lock and keys longer than ever in history of Nigeria. But Stockholm Syndrome. In 8 years, ladies and gentlemen, they told you they will create 3 million jobs every year. You know what the story is today? They told you that they would be building you one refinery every year, and it doesn't make any sense that Nigeria, who is the oil-producing country, that country is also importing fuel that they use in Nigeria. It's a shame. That was what APC Egbekegbe said. We needed to fight the economic terrorists. Those were those they claim were stealing the money. But guess what? Even those refineries they met when they came, do you know what they did? They killed all of them. And they started a bogus, ridiculous project that they called this Trans-Niger Delta, whatever name they gave it, pipeline. They went to go and borrow 6 billion naira to lay the pipeline for crude oil from Niger Delta, and the pipeline is going to pump the crude oil from Niger Delta, will pump it to Niger Republic, where they are going to refine it, and then they will import back petroleum into Nigeria. Yeah, that's exactly what they did in 8 years. No refinery was built, no new refinery is built, no old one is ever fixed. And you would never buy petrol for 14 naira per liter, ever. Today, in 8 years of their miracle that they came to give to you, same time 8 years ago when they saw you so vulnerable, you want to save Nigeria, we need to blah, 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 blah. 8 years after, today, you are grouping again, you want to save Nigeria for somebody to become Mr. President as well. Then you, back to your trenches. They messed everything up, and they have now thrown you to the dogs. So it's now up to you to say, if you want to extend your own, your own imprisonment, because not be everybody where they prison. I mean, not be everybody where they work, they prison. Many of you are working right now, but you are currently in the contraption, a prison style of existence, which is exactly what these people represent. They represent, and they will continue to represent, because the only strength they have is that Nigeria is. But there's something that is also kind of surprising to me. I don't know if you have also noticed, but for somebody like me, I kind of would love to say one or two things about that. We say, don't let Nigeria happen to you. Okay, whether you say Nigeria should continue, it's a great country, it's going to work around this time around, fine, good luck to you. If you agree that we should stop wasting our time and then call for it and let's break this whole thing up. I mean, can we just start the systemic breakup at least first? Do something around breaking the system up first. Something they said, the devolution of power and the rest of that. You can't continue like this. But I don't know if you have noticed that somehow, maybe it's just me, again, my own observation before I say other things, right? My own observation. Have you noticed that somehow APC, PDP, and others, they kind of are so obsessed with this Peter Obi and all that? I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but I'll tell you what I saw and why I'm saying this, okay? We understood the fact that younger people who have somehow come to the conclusion that they don't have anything to do with APC or PDP, in order for them to be able to have a better life or an experience of an existence as a citizen of a place. So the anger from their experience and all of that, which started from the NSAS protest at the time, you remember? And I remember that I stated at the time that if you pay attention to the NSAS protest and the protesters, right, you will realize that it is not because of just the police brutality.